Welcome to another episode of Saul FRAZER's BizzChat, a podcast that will share tips and ideas and encouragement and hopefully motivation for young entrepreneurs who are looking to get into the business sector. But not only that, even when you're already in the business sector, how you're going to survive and take it to another level. In this podcast series, we're hoping to inspire people that are doing great, but even those who are yet to start, even with great ideas in their head, but haven't taken action yet. So we're hoping that that's going to trigger, this podcast is going to trigger them to take action and convert their dreams into realities. In today's episode, we're going to talk about the life of a CEO, looking at the challenges that you face on a daily basis, how to overcome them, and to look at how other people are doing better, in terms of managing their businesses, managing their companies, and so on. Although my business was started in 17 years ago, I believe the first couple of years it was just an enterprise where I was my own boss doing everything on my own. Then a couple of years later, I decided to incorporate the business into a company, a limited liability company. I think that gave me the status of a CEO rather than just someone operating an enterprise. The reason for that change was, in the beginning of any business, I think it's prudent to start small and start easy. And you don't want to spend too much money on incorporating a business unless and until you know this is going to happen and going to take off. So starting as an enterprise was quite good. The starting requirement to register an enterprise was far cheaper. I think I can't remember the figures, but it was way cheaper. So in terms of keeping costs low, registering as an enterprise in the beginning is advisable. But then the moment cash start rolling in and business start expanding, it is advisable to then go into a limited liability company. I'm hoping that the viewers today have an idea of what the differences of these two are. But just to summarize, an enterprise basically means that you are your own boss. The company the business is registered under your name and all the risks are on you. If you have debts or you go into bankruptcy, all your assets and personal assets become liable to that business, as opposed to a limited liability company, whereby, as justice says, it's limited to the assets that are registered under the name of the business. So should you have a limited liability company and you go into bankruptcy or business doesn't go anymore, the losses are only limited to what the company owns and doesn't own. So those are the two differences that one should consider when it's time to register your business. So life as a CEO probably has been over the last 15 years, I would say, because 2 years after enterprise, then converted to a limited liability company when we started making money. As a CEO, your role is probably different because you're looking to not only inspire customers to do business with you, but even to inspire the staff that you work with. Because whenever there was a new project, I have to sell this project to the employees, sell it to the member of staff and all of them so that they can go out and sell it for me. And I remember anytime we were launching a project, I would stand there, do an impressive presentation and just try to see in their eyes, and how they were glowing right there. And then I will know if the business is going to be successful or not, or the project is going to be successful or not. Because as a CEO, if you're able to sell your ideas, your dreams, your aspirations to your employees and they're able to buy it, be rest assured that they will do the same thing to whoever customer that they face out there. So I started looking at it from that perspective, but I also started making it easy for them to do the business for me or to do the job for me. I came up with ideas that I would provide them with all the tools, equipments that they need to do the business. Because, for example, if you have team of staff that are in sales and you don't provide them with transportations or internet or telephones for them to be able to make their calls, how can they possibly go out and make these sales for you? So I made sure that I provided everything that was needed for the business to be done and just motivated them 100% and then set them loose. It paid dividend. It paid dividend because the way the business was structured, or the way I structured it, was that each and every employee was like they were doing business within Global Properties. You're coming in the morning, you have a briefing of what to do on that particular day. But then you can go out from 9:30 in the morning and come back at 4:30. During this time, there's no way I could monitor, or I was monitoring you, because you know exactly what you need to do. The targets were set. You know what you need to do at the end of the day, at the end of the month. And there was no restriction in terms of how much you can make, because the more sales you made, the more commission that you had. Now, these were some of the things I felt could drive the company to another level. Because imagine if you have this notion, or if you just know that you're restricted to making a certain amount every month, regardless how many hours that you put in, it will become, I wouldn't say it wouldn't become productive, but it's much more rewarding knowing that the more emphasis, the more energy, the more work you put in, the higher the results, or the higher the money that you're going to earn to take home. So structuring the business in such a way was very, very productive, not only for myself, but for the staff that were working there. At some point, we saw staff making commissions up to 50,000 a month, 100,000 a month. And it became a source of motivation for people that wanted to do better for them in life. And that seemed to work. As a CEO, or in life in general, you face a lot of challenges. But one of the key challenges that still stuck to my mind is because when I started initially, it was just me, the general manager, the driver, and the secretary. So just 4 of us in a very small room that we occupied. So fast forward, we brokered a deal and made a couple of millions, and it was obviously time to expand the business. We moved from the first floor to a second floor. We got, I think, 5 to 10 times bigger size, and also increased the number of staff that we needed to run the business. So as this expansion was going on, I had the shock of my life. My general manager decided to quit and start up another company, a competitive company. And then at the same time, my finance manager also decided to quit to join the bank. So I sat there thinking, wow, I wasn't expecting this. How do we maneuver this? But luckily, the staff saw how it impacted me. And I remember one of the drivers coming to me and say, hey, Saul, you know what? We got this. Even if everyone else decides to leave, we know that we're capable of taking this company to another level. So there's no way for you shouldn't be discouraged. That really helped me to get into shape. And it just reminds me of the saying that sometimes you have to believe in the people that believes in you. And the fact that he was a driver and he saw our capabilities of what the company could do and came to remind me of that was also another instigator to firing me up. And from there on, I never looked back. We regrouped, restructured the company. And before you know it, that was forgotten. But you're going to go through challenges throughout your life, whether as a CEO or as a human being or whatever you do. But it's a matter of how you respond rather than how you react. Because reacting can sometimes be something that you don't think of, something that could be unstructured or unorganized, or could be emotionally driven. But by responding, you take a lot of factors into place and look at how best you can maneuver the situation that you find yourself in. So I prefer to always respond than react. The way I operate my businesses is I operate it as an open book. There are no secrets, there's no restrictions. Like today, any staff can walk into the accounts office and find out what profit was made in a particular project, what were the costs, how did we go about it, and so on. I believe it is important to have transparency, not only with yourself, but also the people that you work with and the stakeholders, so they're aware of why we do what we do and how we do certain things. So there was never a fear that people are going to steal my ideas or the staff are going to steal my idea and quit the job and go on. But it was the manner that the general manager went about this whole thing, quitting, because not only that he established himself in the same building that I was working in, and not only that he chose a similar name to the business that I'm also operating, but it's just that, when you work with someone and you trust them so much, there were moments when staff would come to me and say, hey, are you aware what this guy is doing? So there were signs before, or people tried to tell me what was happening, but I just didn't listen. I didn't pay attention because I never believed anything of such nature or something like this would happen. So when he finally came to me and said, I'm leaving because I've set up my own company because I'm going to do this and that, I think that was a shock, to be honest, that that knocked me down. And that was what the staff saw. And the driver came and obviously gave me the thumbs up, or sort of the motivational speech that he did. So that has never stopped me from changing the way I operate, the way I do business. I don't like hiding things from staff. I don't like hiding things from people that I work with, because by showing them the ways, the ropes of how I do things, doesn't necessarily mean that if you want to do it yourself, you can do it better or any other way. I just feel like it's the right way to operate. I've been doing it for the last 17 years, and I don't see any reason why I'm going to stop sharing trade secrets with people that I work with. Over the years as a CEO, I've obviously faced rejections, and it's normal for people. I mean, you cannot expect everyone to say yes to you, just like you also have to know who your customers are or who could potentially do business with you. I remember the first 5 years of my business, my face wasn't out there. My character wasn't out there. It was more of setting up a business in such a way that it was gaining momentum and also setting up a strong foundation. At one point, I remember someone coming to me and say, I'm looking for the owner of the business. And say, well, it's me. I say, no, I'm looking for Saul FRAZER. I say, well, I am Saul FRAZER. So there was this thinking that Saul FRAZER was a different person or a white person running this business, because for them, the fact that it was global and the way things were being branded and positioned, it didn't resonate with the typical way of how Gambian businesses were set up and were being run. So it was pleasing to see that in some aspect, but at the same time it was a bit disappointing to think that it's only foreigners who could do what I was doing. We've tried so many projects before and obviously keep getting rejections. We tried different things, but it's part of it. Again, with these rejections, you learn not to react, not throwing insults or being rude to these people, because you know that sooner or later you might need them again. So it was just a matter of responding, taking the criticism and see how you could improve by making sure you do better business plan. We're looking at your finances structured in a better way, creating a board of directors, creating a setup where you now have your HR, your business development, your budgets and things in place. Because you learn, whenever there's a rejection, you have something to learn to improve on for the next one. just to make sure that you don't get rejected for the same reason again. So I have no problem being rejected as long as I know the reason why I'm being rejected for. And this will help me to improve, to make sure that I don't get rejected for the same thing twice. There are many hard decisions that you have to make as a life, being a CEO of a company. And I think one of them is, well, it's always going to be parting with people. It could either be for lack of performing for the company, or maybe they're leaving for something else. But separating with people is always difficult. I remember there was a particular year that one of my best sales individual decided to quit. The person wanted to leave for greener pasture. It was difficult to accept because, hey, here was I thinking, this person is actually the best that I have and is selling more than the average employee. What's going to happen to the company now? I tried to convince the person to stay, and I failed. I failed miserably. But it turned out to be not a bad decision to let the person go, because what I've realized is that, they're saying that if one door shuts, then other doors are going to open. From nowhere, someone else emerged and became a super salesperson in that company and was doing far better than what the person left has done. So people are going to come join your company and people are going to leave. That's inevitable. Just like how I have left many places to get to where I am today. So who am I to try to stop or forcefully stop you from leaving? I will try my best to keep you if I can. But if I can't, I'll probably have to let you go and try something else. So those are one of the challenges that you're going to face as a CEO. But again, just look at it in a brighter way. And it's far easier and better to work with people that want to work with you and for you than people who are just there for other reasons than what you would want from them. So there's nothing, to my knowledge, or that I know, that would qualify you as a CEO, because it's just a title that you use when you're forming a limited liability company. So, but it's not about the title for me. It's about how you conduct yourself in the business environment, with the people that you're leading, how you lead from the front, how you make sure that you demonstrate examples, that you have a track record that people want to emulate or even beat. Because I remember I'm a football fanatic, by the way, and I love Arsenal so much. And one of our rivals, Manchester United. I remember when Alex Ferguson left and they brought in this coach, can't remember his name, but he wasn't that, he didn't have the merit that most of the players at United had at that particular moment. And I sat there thinking, how could he possibly motivate people that are more successful than you are? For me, I didn't see how. I didn't see that working for some reason, because I always think that you as a leader, you should be in a position whereby not only you know a little bit more or kind of know the direction that you want to go and can lead from the front. Yes, it is true that you don't need to know everything as a leader, but it's about building a team that can give you exactly what you want. And one of my favorite leadership quotes is getting people to do the things that you want them to do, but in the process, they love doing it. And it's important as a CEO to always have a vision, a clear vision that you can sell to people that work for you, that you're working with. But running an enterprise and calling yourself CEO, it can work, but just make sure that you demonstrate the abilities of a leader to make your company successful. A leader must be able to clearly demonstrate the vision of the company, the path that the company is to take, the goals and objectives, and also be able to demonstrate strategic plans like marketing, how to brand the business in such a way that it's known to everyone out there. A leader should be able to clearly sell, like they say, you should be able to sell the product to a 3-year-old or 4-year-old. If you cannot do those things, it's just communication, then you can find yourself in a difficult situation. Titles don't really matter to me. Whether you have one of the things that I always ignore or sort of ignore, well, don't put too much emphasis on when it comes to interviews, especially interviewing employees, is their business acronyms. You know, some will come with degrees, some will come with other sort of certification. But for me, yes, it's important to have, don't get me wrong, but it's about what you can do at the job. I'm a very result-oriented person. You can have a PhD, but you won't be able to generate the results that I want. But at the same time, you can just have a college certificate and you'll be able to do amazingly well. The people that I employed in the beginning of my business, none of them had degrees. But it's just the drive and the hunger that I saw in them. And I knew I could push them or trigger them to be able to achieve their goals. These are the things that really make me tick, or when I'm trying to find or build a team to work with. See, when you're at the top, or when you're a CEO, at a boss, it comes to moments when no one will do anything for you for free. And what I mean with that is, I remember there was a particular driver that I was working with. I mean, this driver, every day when he finished work, he will come and ask for transportation. Or, I would give him maybe $100 or $50. And this went on for a long period. And then one day, I think there was a bulb in my car that failed. And I asked him to change it for me. And obviously the bulb was costing $25. And he came and asked me for that $25, which I had to pay. So that just shows you that when you really on top, people don't tend to, what's the word I'm trying to find? Most people don't have mercy for you. Basically, everything would be something that you have to pay for. But that's life in general. Nothing comes for free. You have to work hard. You have to do the things that you believe in, going the extra mile to make it work. So it was just a lesson, a reminder of what I knew before, but it wasn't something that stopped me from still giving him that $50 or $100 whenever I could for transportation. There are many characteristics of a good leader, but I believe great leaders should be able to communicate their vision clearly so that not only they can refer back to it and get into straight line with where they're heading, but be able to sell it to the people that are following them as well, like the staff, and other people, stakeholders, and possibly investors. Most people really don't have a clear vision of what they want to achieve in life or which direction that they want to go. And they end up failing before they even start. I remember my former MD used to say that if you wake up in the morning and you stand at the street of your house, you see someone going to Marsa Serekunda, you'll join them towards Marsa Serekunda. But before you get to Serekunda, you'll see somebody else who will divert your way to somewhere else, and so on, and continue like that. So you'll never really get to your destination because it wasn't imprinted in you. But the moment you wake up and you say, hey, I want to get to Banjul, regardless whether you go through Fajara, through traffic lights, or through Westfield or even the airport road, you will get to Banjul eventually. So it's important to have a clear vision and goals that you want to reach. And in that way, you set your focus on it. And come rain, come shine, you should be able to reach it. I hope you enjoyed listening to the life of a CEO. This is just a brief summary of what I've went through over the last 17 years. But as we continue this journey of Saul FRAZER's BizzChat, we're hoping to bring more in-depth analysis about how to make it in life and how to make your business work for you. Until next time again, see you.